Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Smackdown Review here on Wrestling with Regret. My name is Alex, your self-proclaimed Queen of the Ring, and we had yet another pretty good episode of Smackdown, if I do say so myself. So why don't we just jump right into it? We opened up the show this week with the Usos coming out, and it is promo time, baby. And they are not too happy about the Miz and Morrison trash-talking them from last week, and they say that they're going to throw a super kick party. Funny, is that before or after you saw AEW throw a super kick party? Then the New Day interrupt the Usos, and I really like to see the New Day and the Usos going on a promo, going off on a match. They just have such great chemistry together, and I can see them feud for a little bit, but the Usos tell the New Day to warm up the titles because they're going to go after it. But then Miz and Morrison interrupt. They say that they need a title chant and that they are going to be the greatest tag team in the 21st century. And then Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode come out and ruin the whole segment. I'm just kidding. Well, at least Dolph's fedora ruined the whole segment. What is up with that boy's hat? Can we just settle on like one style of hat? We've got like a trucker hat one night, then like a baseball cap, then like a fedora, then a visor. Ugh, I don't know what's going on with Dolph Ziggler's hats, but he needs to stop. Also, he has great hair. Why is he even wearing hats? But nonetheless, we start this 8-man tag match, and that's what I have to say about the tag match. It was meh. You know, it's like we've seen it before. Of course, you know, the Usos and the New Day were going to win. Did we really see the Miz and Morrison and Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode winning? No, we did not. There was nothing really disappointing about it, but there was nothing really exciting about it either. It was all right. Following that match, we have a backstage segment with Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan and Heath Slater. We see Daniel Bryan walking backstage in the hallway, and Drew Gulak stops Daniel Bryan and says that he's doing things wrong, and he has a PowerPoint presentation, and he brings up Heath Slater, and Heath Slater is in the background waiting for his cue, and I thought that was hilarious. Classic dumbass Heath Slater. I like Heath Slater, and also shout out to him for getting yet another TV paycheck. You love to see it. But Heath Slater challenges Daniel Bryan to a rematch, and we'll get to that in 1 second. Now, next up, we have the fallout of the infamous love triangle, the Valentine's Day love triangle between Mandy Rose, Otis, and Dolph Ziggler. Now we see Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville talking backstage, and Tucker comes up to the both of them and pretty much says, yo, you broke my boy's heart. That's pretty messed up. Just saying, he's a good guy, and you totally crushed him. And it seems like Mandy Rose feels bad, but I don't think she feels that bad, because later in the night, we see her waiting for her ride, and Dolph Ziggler offers her a ride, and she takes up the offer, and then they leave the building, and we see Otis behind some crates, and he saw the whole thing, and homeboy is emo as hell. Now, following that, we have a sit-down interview with Renee Young and Lacey Evans, and Renee Young is interviewing Lacey Evans because we have not seen her since the Royal Rumble, since her loss at the Royal Rumble. It's interesting because Lacey Evans says that Bayley is a bully, and Renee Young puts her in her place a little bit and calls her out, and I was like, well, you were kind of a bully as well, calling people nasties. And then Lacey Evans defends herself and says that she's changed and the word nasty is used differently in the South. Okay, I don't buy that, but sure. It seems like this interview was, let's prove how much Lacey Evans is a babyface and just ignore that. And yeah, she's learned her lesson with bullying because they bullied her daughter. I did enjoy Lacey Evans in this promo. I'm not going to lie. I could see her charisma and charm very much shine through this little interview. I feel like we could have done without this interview. I feel like I could have seen this interview on like Twitter or the WWE YouTube channel. Now, following that interview, we have, in my opinion, the match of the night, which is the Symphony of Destruction match with Braun Strowman teaming up with Elias to face off Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, of course, with the glorious, the fantastic Sami Zayn by their side at ringside. And this was such a fun match. It was weird. It was so weird. But it was definitely a better match than the first Symphony of Destruction match, which was between Elias and Braun Strowman. And if we remember, Braun Strowman had that bit with the stand-up bass, and he actually brought it back, which was pretty good. You know, if you know, you know. And I popped a little bit for the bass. I'm not gonna lie, popped a little bit. This was a Falls Count Anywhere match, but for some reason they were still sticking with tag rules, but maybe they forgot in the beginning and they're like, oh wait, we could kind of do whatever we want, so let's just do whatever we want. And they used the props properly. They didn't overuse the props like in some stipulation matches. They used it very well. At one point we had Braun Strowman put Cesaro through a kick bass drum. Kick bass drum? Is it a kick bass drum? He put him through a drum. That was hilarious. That whole match was just so gold. At one point during the match, Sami Zayn hit Braun Strowman with a ukulele. Of course, the ukulele was not going to work on Braun Strowman, Sami Zayn. Duh. And at the end, to get the win, Braun Strowman power slams Shinsuke Nakamura onto a piano, and then Elias put Cesaro through a table. This match could have gone on just a little bit longer. It was very entertaining. It was weirdly entertaining, but it was so much fun. It was fun to see this match brought back again one more time, and this feud is already just a little bananas. I mean, I don't understand why we're not having a single competitor with Braun Strowman. He has the Intercontinental Championship, and it's just like he has... like, that championship feels like it's just a 24 title championship. There's no, I guess you could say, value because there's no actual challengers. But with that being said, I was still entertained by this match, and I was still entertained by this feud with this weird team up with Braun Strowman and Elias. They've had history together, obviously, because they did this match, Symphony of Destruction, 2 years ago. I believe it was before WrestleMania 34. So it was fun to see this match brought back again, and it was a good match. After that match, we have a quick little moment of bliss segment, and it's pretty much just to announce that the Bella Twins are going into the Hall of Fame. It's been rumored for weeks. I know a lot of people on Twitter are having agreements and disagreements about the Bellas being in the Hall of Fame. Now look, I'm not a Bellas fan. They're just not my cup of tea. But do they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely. They are one of the pioneers of women's wrestling, especially transitioning from the Divas era onto the women's era. And their last run in the WWE was pretty entertaining. I'm not going to lie. I know people are going to come for me in the comment section, especially people that have been watching me for a while. I have kind of trashed the Bellas a little bit. Oh, just a little bit. Oh. They've brought mainstream eyes, loads of them, to the WWE within the past few years. They have improved. Their promo work has been good. And they're both pregnant, so why not? Give it to them. Yeah. Also, I think that they should be main eventing or headlining the Hall of Fame this year. I kind of think that the Bellas are going to bring a little bit more eyes to the Hall of Fame than Batista. So I think that they should headline Hall of Fame. Am I wrong for saying that? I know you guys are going to shred me in the comments below as if you don't do it already, but that's just my opinion. And that's coming from someone who doesn't like the Bellas. Mind blown. I know. But I can't lie. It was cute to see them pregnant and super happy to be in the Hall of Fame. And Daniel Bryan came out with Birdie and they all celebrated, and Brie Bella gave Daniel Bryan a little kiss before he went into his match with Heath Slater. Daniel Bryan versus Heath Slater. Short match, another squash match, but Drew Gulak was on commentary, and it seemed like Drew Gulak was trying to coach Heath Slater, and at one point Heath Slater was getting onto the top of the turnbuckle, and Drew Gulak said no. Heath Slater did not listen, and of course Drew Gulak was right. So if we're starting this Drew Gulak being Heath Slater's manager, I'm all for it. Heath Slater is good. We've seen it before when he had his run with Rhino. He has kids, so let's just give him more paychecks. Let him be on TV more. And if he teams up with Drew Gulak, I would really like to see that. And if he has a feud with Daniel Bryan, that would be amazing for Heath Slater. Of course, Daniel Bryan doesn't need that feud, but Heath Slater needs that feud. And Drew Gulak needs that feud as well. So I would love to see it. Let's do it. Also, Daniel Bryan won that match with a running knee. Duh. Of course he was going to win. It's Heath Slater. He's not going to win. Now, following that, we have Carmella versus Naomi to see who is going to be the #1 contender to face Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title at the Super Showdown. Now, this match was all right. At one point, Bayley, who was already at ringside, was trying to get involved in the match and was just trash talking Naomi. And she kept saying, no, I'm not going to touch her, but I'm going to trash talk her. And the ref said, not up in here. I'm tired of your bullshit, Bayley, and threw her out of ringside. And the match continued. And it was a good match. Naomi won with a split leg moonsault. Love to see it. Really love to see her do that. She did it pretty well. And she won. And I was very surprised she won. I thought Carmella was going to be the one to win because I was hoping that maybe we would save Naomi for WrestleMania. But now I'm hoping Naomi wins the title at Super Showdown and somehow we get Sasha Banks versus Naomi at WrestleMania. I mean, how awesome would that be? They already have the history together with Team Bad. I think it writes itself. I think it would be pretty good. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. And last but not least, we have the long-awaited appearance of Goldberg. He comes out and he addresses his match against The Fiend at Super Showdown. He gets interrupted by Bray Wyatt with the Firefly Funhouse, and he says that he is excited for Goldberg to meet The Fiend. Lights cut down, and of course, The Fiend is right behind Goldberg. And he calls it, too. He knew that The Fiend was right behind him. Goldberg hit him with a spear, and then The Fiend disappears, and that was pretty much it. And that was the hype for the Super Showdown for the Universal title. It was quick. It was nice. I always enjoy seeing a good Goldberg spear, though. And that was that. That was this week's episode of Friday Night Smackdown. And what did we think? Well, overall, I would give this episode a C. It's swimming on a C. You know, there was pros and cons. A pro was definitely the Symphony of Destruction match. The women's match was pretty good. And the Goldberg appearance with The Fiend was all right. I mean, I really always love to see The Fiend come out. He's so exciting. Cons, I would definitely have to say, not having King Corbin come out was kind of a con. He's the best heel on the roster. Any way that we could bring him out, we should. In a backstage segment, I don't think, maybe we should actually bring him out. I know everybody hates Corbin, but god damn it, he's such a good heel. You can't deny it. But those are just my opinions on this week's episode of SmackDown. As always, we want to know what you guys think. So let us know in the comments below, like this video, and share with all your friends. And while you're down there, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret. And while you're down there, scroll down a little bit more. The link to my channel will be down there below, Queen of the Ring. You could always type in Queen of the Ring Wrestling on YouTube. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm at _Queen of the Ring on Instagram, and I'm at a Queen of the Ring on Twitter. As always, guys, my name is Alex, your self-proclaimed Queen of the Ring, and I will see you next week for another episode of the SmackDown Review with John Cena. He's coming back. Pfft, so excited. See you next time. Bye.